Hello Internet, Alex from Barefaced again. Some more explaining of our range of products. Now, we started out making things for bass guitarists. I'm a bassist, that's why that started first. We also do things for guitarists. We've been doing that for quite a few years now, and well, pretty much everyone who uses one thinks it's incredible. So it's just a question of actually the word getting out there further. People who review them, give us awards like Sound on Sound magazine, they're really good. We also do something that lives in this strange world between guitar and bass, and that is our FRFR cabs. So, full range, flat response. That seems to become a thing in the world of guitar and bass, and people tend to know what it means. What we're really talking about is what I prefer to call accurate response, and the reason I say accurate response is more important than full range, flat response is because, well, full range is a misnomer for starters, because very few things go as low as your ears can go, and certainly as low as your body can feel. And flat response alone isn't enough for accuracy, because you also need to think about polar response and transient response and dynamic response. So we're shooting for accuracy, but just so the rest of the world understands what we're talking about, we'll call it FRFR. So we make one very much specific FRFR product, and two other products that are FRFR because my goal with them was to make the most accurate bass cab in the world, so they are more FRFR than anything else I know of on the market. And then we have some other models that weren't sort of targeted as that, but they probably are more FRFR than most things out there, and certainly they have really good accuracy through the mid-range. So we've got the Reality 112FR. Now that is our only AVD FRFR cab. So the thing that's special about the Reality, it's got a Celestion coaxial full range live response driver. So that's a F12X 200, I think it's called. So it's a 200 watt driver, 97 dB sensitivity, so it's loud. And this generates output from the cone that goes forward. It generates output from the coax tweeter that goes forward, and obviously both of those disperse reasonably well. And then out of the back of the speaker, we've got the back of the cone generating output that is going through the AVD's diffractor slot and horn type thing to spread the more mids and highs around the room, and also act as a Helmholtz resonator generating increased low end output and efficiency and power handling. And we've also, now this is what's really unusual about the Reality, it has a rear firing tweeter with its own level control and crossover. That basically means we've got full range flat response out the front of the cab and full range flat response out of the back, so it fills the room omnidirectionally, which is really great for getting a really real sounding guitar sound that just fills the room in a really honest way that it just sounds and feels like a guitar cab should. If you are used to playing through an open back guitar cab and you play through a normal FRFR cab, you just won't get that omnidirectionality. You won't get that sound off the walls that is part of the sound. So that is the Reality. So that's, I believe, the best executed conventional FRFR guitar cab available out there. But we also have these two bass cabs, the Big Baby 3 and the Big Twin 3, which are incredibly accurate. Now, rather than going for an omnidirectional response, we're aiming for more controlled response, because I found with bass cabs that although we want broad dispersion, going omnidirectional essentially creates too much of a feeling of reverb and pushes the bass back in the mix. So you generally want bass to be really quite dry, and that brings it forward in the mix because the inherent tonality of bass instruments tends to push them back in the mix. So the Big Baby 3 and the Big Twin 3 are designed for excellent dispersion, but not for omnidirectionality. Although these are designed for bass, and this is designed for guitar, there is a realm in guitar where the Reality simply doesn't have enough output low down or extension low down. So if you're down tuning a lot, if you're playing in very loud bands and either chugging or, probably down tuning and chugging, but it could just be chugging stuff, in normal standard E tuning or maybe drop D. But if you're going to 7 strings or your drops to be or lower than that, then the Big Baby 3 and the Big Twin 3 are probably the best way of getting an absolutely thunderous guitar sound using modelling systems, your FRFR stuff where you're using things like the Neurals or the HX Stomps or any of the other. There are some Kempers. There's so much stuff out there now which is getting better and better. So Big Baby 3, 800 watts, 97 dB sensitivity. This goes loud. It moves a lot of air. If you're in a very loud band, Big Twin 3, 1600 watts, 100 dB sensitivity. This is the sort of thing that bassists are using to replace 8x10s or dual 410 stacks. So this is a monster. Most guitarists will not need this, but if you do, there's an option. You don't have to turn it all the way up. If you do turn it all the way up, stand far away and use hearing protection. So there, super accurate, FRFR guitar with an AVD, omnidirectionality and all that thing. But we've also got some other models down here, not to scale. So these also use the 12XN driver. That is our custom barefaced driver. It's a very special speaker. And historically, until recently, Super Compact was just a single 12. The Super Compact remains a single 12, but we now offer it optionally as a customization with this high quality tweeter. It's a smaller tweeter. It's not a big high frequency driver and compression horn stuff. It's a more of a traditional tweeter, but it's still low in distortion, high in accuracy, decent dispersion, and that's got a fully adjustable crossover. So if you turn it all the way off, the HF control, then it sounds the same as the standard Super Compact, but you can have this optional Super Compact T for tweeter. We've also got the Super Twin, and now available as a Super Twin T. The Super Twin is two Super Compacts in a box. It's not the same shape as two Super Compacts because we felt that wasn't as good a shape in terms of portability and convenience for a 2x12. So the Super Compact is taller and narrower and shallower for its size. Super Twin, we didn't just stick them on top of each other. It got a bit wider and a bit deeper so it didn't have to get crazy tall. We have what was called the Super Midget until recently, and we're still going through the process of updating that, but for various reasons we've renamed it Super Mini T, so that's now also available as the Super Mini without the tweeter. So this might confuse you that we have these three very similar 2x12s. I'll just explain the third one of them. This is a very new edition. First one of these was finished this week. This is this week that I'm filming this. You might not see this turn up for another week or so. This is the Super Third T. So we called it the Super Third because it's designed to be the third 12-inch speaker in a barefaced stack. So we've made this the same width and the same depth as a Super Twin, so they stack very neatly. The reason we didn't make this before is I feel the Super Compact is a much more convenient shape for carrying than half of a Super Twin would be, and it's taller as well, which is more audible. It works a bit better acoustically on its own, but it doesn't look so nice stacked on a Super Twin. So the logic is that you can get a Super Third to stack onto your Super Twin now that so many amps are available that will drive a sub 4 ohm load, and that is available with an optional tweeter and crossover. These cabs are honest and accurate, and if you want an FRFR cab that can go lower than a Reality 112FR, so it'll get down to low B of a bass guitar or even lower, so basically an octave lower than this will work, but you don't want something so big and expensive, or that can go as even lower with these, then these are great options for FRFR guitar. We do also have some guitarists who use our bass cabs for guitar, like Buzz from Melvins. He uses two Super Twins, no tweeter, and that's just his guitar sound. He just runs through some interesting solid state preamps and pedals, a big power amp, and then into this 2x12XN cab. It sounds amazing. It's a huge sound. So that's certainly an option for guitarists. A lot of people think that bass cabs can't be used for guitar, and what I would say to you is that's not correct. Bass cabs don't necessarily have the tone you want for guitar, but they do for some guitarists, and they absolutely can handle the frequency range. A bass guitar goes both lower and higher certainly can go lower and can go a lot higher than guitar. I wouldn't recommend putting bass through guitar cabs because the speakers cannot handle the lows. They don't have enough excursion, so you'll either burn the voice coils out because the voice coils can't handle the heat, or you'll wreck the suspension, or you'll buckle the cone, or you'll smash the voice coil into the back of the magnet, or you'll jump the voice coil out of the gap. Yeah, it doesn't go well putting bass energy in quantity into guitar speakers. It can be done. Jack Bruce did it with 6 Marshall 4x12s, but you need a lot of them. So hopefully that explains our sort of in-between range, because these are all part of our bass range. This is part of our guitar range, but these are all capable of being FRFR, and I would argue that there is nothing more accurate if you want truly full range FRFR than the Big Baby 3 and the Big Twin 3, or if you want that vibe of a guitar cab because you're focused on modelling and being able to simulate lots of different sounds of speakers, then the Reality is brilliant for that. And then we've got these as well, which are excellent at what they're doing. Hopefully that made sense. I mean, I think I understand it better than I did before. So let me know if you do. Let me know if you'd like to know more. I've been Alex from Barefaced, and these are the Barefaced FRFR cabs. Thank you and goodbye.